Hello, everyone, and welcome to Comp 101 Computer Literacy Summer B-Term class. My name is Jim House, and I will be your instructor for the course over the next 5 weeks. As you may already know, this is a 5-week condensed course about computer technology concepts and application software. Most notably, you'll be focusing on using many of the main applications that are part of the Microsoft Office 2019 suite, such as Word, Excel, Access, and PowerPoint. Because this course usually runs as a 15-week course in the fall and spring semesters, you'll be doing approximately 3 weeks worth of work and assignments per week, which will require you to be online with Brightspace a few hours per day. That said, if you pace yourself and work a little each day, you will not be overwhelmed, and before you know it, the course and the semester will be over. So because you'll be working with such technologies such as Brightspace, MindTap, SAM, which is short for Skills Assessment Manager, and the Office suite of applications, I wanted to create this video to demonstrate ways by which you can work with Brightspace and easily navigate the content of the course. Although there are many different ways to navigate and use Brightspace, sometimes referred to as D2L, I'm going to show you or demonstrate to you my personal preference on moving through the Brightspace interface as it relates to the content of our class. Hopefully you'll find this helpful. Now later on, as you get familiar with Brightspace and the layout of the course content, you may begin to navigate Brightspace your own way, which whatever works best for you is the way to go. So let's dive into looking at the course. In this video, I'm going to examine a week of conceptual material from the textbook, as well as look at one of the weeks we move into the hands-on portion of the class, where you'll be working with Office suite applications. In this video, I'll just focus on Microsoft Word. That said, the way I've designed this class, you will quickly see the structure, layout, and pattern of how the reading and the assignments are arranged, and you should easily be able to follow along with the course. So diving in here, when you first log in and successfully log into Brightspace into this class, you'll see it's Computer Literacy WB, which means Full Web B-Term Summer 2021. That's how you know you're in the right class. And you'll see certain links in this blue navigation bar at the top, which I'll refer to on occasions, dealing with the course home, which is where we are now, content, My Brightspace, discussions, and some other things that you may or may not see as the student. Unfortunately, I do not get to see a true student view of what you are seeing in the class. So you may not have some of these links. If you do, that's fantastic. So that said, one of the ways that I navigate the class is I like to go up to content. So once you're at the course home, where we are here, you can click content, and then what happens is that Brightspace will churn and it will take you to give you an overview or a layout of the course. A lot of times, whatever the last link that you happen to click on is where you end up coming right back to, which is very helpful. Just so happens that I had clicked on the last one called Overview of the Class. It gives you a basic overview of what this course will entail. So the reason I like this particular navigation scheme is because you can see everything down here on the left is all of the links, if you will, to the various portions of the class. One of the things that we recommend for all people using Brightspace or D2L is to always come to the Start Here section and click. So if you do, and you click on this portion, you'll notice that the Start Here section loads up on what's known as a frame set on the right side of the page. And I've set this up with a little graphic and some explanation of what you're going to be looking at. And as you scroll through, you'll see the various portions of the content that makes up this particular module, if you will. So for example, the course introduction. And if you click that, it will take you to a web page. In this case is what it's referring to, but it's basically giving you a layout of what the course is about, right? Now, once you're here, you can do a couple different things. You can go back to the start here, breadcrumb as they're referred to, and it takes you right back to where you started from. And you can scroll down through this listing. Now, granted, don't get overwhelmed. There's a lot of material here to get you started. And one of the nice things about Brightspace is, well, let's say you clicked on something and you reviewed it and you come back and say, oh, well, now I can't remember what I reviewed and what I didn't. Every time you review a piece of content or read the material that's listed, you'll get a little check mark and also a progress bar that says that, hey, you've completed 100%, or in my case, 10 out of 10 topics that were completed. Since I developed the course and went through and reviewed it, of course I did. But you also see little check marks or little dots that will tell you that you need to review or not. So if you see a check mark, that means you reviewed it. Just that simple. So the next, let me go back to course introduction to show you another way by which you can navigate. You could click the link below that you just saw, or you can use these little arrows right and left. Of course, right pointing meaning going forward, or if you click the left button, it means previous. So I did course introduction before, so if I click this button, I can navigate through to the next, which was an overview of the course and its structure. And it talks about what you see here in Brightspace, the welcome, start here, the course schedule, college information, so on and so forth. And you can continue to click and move through as you read this. And it's highly, highly recommended that you do not skip over this. A 5-minute read of going through this material to let you know the content of the course and the structure and how to get a hold of me, so on and so forth. So you can continue to do this until you go through the entire Start Here module. So I'm just going to go ahead and skip back to the start here, this breadcrumb, and we are back to square one. And you can scroll through and you can see. Remember course introduction, overview of course, meet your instructor, instructor's response time. You can then, instead of going sequentially through with the arrows that you just saw, you can, what we call non-sequentially, migrate or navigate through the class by simply clicking on, let's say, initial task to complete. And you can read about that. So that is the way I like to navigate through the course. And this is why I just thought, well, we'd start with the start here. But where you're really going to, and the meat and potatoes of the course, and that is working with the assignments and the readings and other little things therein, is course modules. You'll notice there's 112 items here, not, panic it. There's a lot more here than I guess may appear to be more than meets the eye, but trust me, it's not as bad as it looks. But if you click on course modules, what this does is it gives you a 100-foot view of the class. And you'll see that this course is broken down into sub-modules that are slightly indented underneath of the course modules. And again, this is why I like this, because you can get a grandiose overview of the class and the material. In fact, under course modules, if I were to scroll down through, you'll see that this is week 1, June 22nd through the 27th. I'm going to keep scrolling. Here are the things through week 1. Here's week 2. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Week 3, where we're starting to look at Microsoft Word. Week 4, Access. And the final week, week 5, Excel, a little bit of Access and PowerPoint. And then basically that's the end of the class. So that's a nice overview, kind of a skyline view of the class. Now, as you begin to dive into each module, that's when it begins to drill down deeper into each week. So let's take a look at week 1. Week 1 and 2, the first 2 weeks are conceptual material, reading about concepts related to computer technology, like the internet, the World Wide Web, cybersecurity issues, working with applications, working with different operating systems, understanding what an operating system is. So these are things that are related to the course. And by the time we get to week 3, that's when we start jumping into the hands-on portion of the class that I mentioned, where you start working specifically with Microsoft Word, then Excel, a little bit of Access, and PowerPoint. So let's take a look at week 1. When I click on this module, you'll notice that this is also broken down into yet further submodules. Now, one is called Welcome to the MindTap course. And notice I put here that this is optional. What this does is allows you to go through and explore the way your textbook works which is an electronic text, and how SAM works. And you can go through these exercises to introduce you to what MindTap is. Getting started with MindTap, an introduction to what the Skills Assessment Manager looks like, how a training works. You can skip these if you like. They are not graded, although I highly recommend, because that exposes you to how your Brightspace works with your textbook and the testing modules that you will work with later on. Only takes, a few minutes to do. Think of it as like a course within a course, is what I've recommended and said about this. It seems like a lot of stuff, but it shows you how to work with critical thinking exercises, how to do training, how to take working with files in SAM. There is an exam, just to test your skills about computer technology. These are not graded at all. So is it a waste of time? No. Is it worth your time? Yes. But if you think, I think I've got this, you can skip over and go right to the next submodule, which is chapter 1 of your text. And notice that there's 1, 2, 3 chapters in this first week. Impact of digital technology, the web, computer hardware, and then a practice exam, and then the actual exam. So let's take a look, for example, computer concepts, chapter 1. Notice I've only done a few of these. And you'll see here that if I click on concepts, module 1, introducing learning objectives, I also included a PowerPoint. So in case you don't want to read the entire chapter, but glean the highlights of the whole thing, here's a PowerPoint that's available for you. But you'll notice that concepts module 1.1 reading, if you click this actually will launch you into MindTap, which is the electronic version of your text. So it takes you out of Brightspace, right? Which you'll come back to it. This is what it looks like, but it's launching you into the text. Now my internet seems to be a little bit slow, but it's loading in the first chapter of the book. And if you start reading the text, and let's say you start on page 1 and you leave off on page 10 and come back to it later, it will actually take you to the last page you left off of, which is really nice. Somehow it remembers. So right here, impact of technology, module 1, I say chapter, but folks at Cengage refer to them as modules. And you're right here, basically the table of contents. So it explains a little bit, an outline of the history of computers. And then you can use these right and left arrows. It is like flipping a page in a text. The scroll bar actually will scroll you down through, because obviously if you see a scroll bar here on the side, that means, well, a little bit further reading, and you can continue to read through the book electronically, which is really nice. You can also experiment with some of the tools that you see over here. So for example, you can highlight portions of the book. You can even have the textbook read to you, which are some options that you have, which are really nice. The joy of having an electronic text. This is MindTap. This is the technology that enables this electronic book to be read to you, for you the ability to highlight, take notes yourself, and go on from there. So when you experience a reading, then you can actually close this out, and you are back concept module 1.1 reading. The next thing you can do is use these back right or left arrows to go to the next concept or whatever was listed in the module. I'm just going to go right back to concept chapter 1, digital technology. And so I just did the reading. The next thing you'll see, and probably the thing where you might do a lot of your focus, because this is where the rubber meets the road, is I've done this deliberately. I've labeled these out in bright, bold red. This activity is worth 100 points. This activity is worth 100 points. This activity is worth 100 points. These are supplemental materials like readings, right? And these are actual assignments. So this, for example, is a concept video where you can click, and I will just go ahead and show you what it looks like. And at the end of the videos, it asks you 1 or 2 questions that you answer, and it's easy 100 points. The videos usually range from 3 to 5 minutes, and then boom, you answer a question and you're done. So 6 minutes out of your day and an easy 100 points when it's all said and done. Now, I'm not going to go through and play the whole video, but you notice that it's pushing through, launched you into the MindTap Cengage Learning, and then you can click Start, and here is a video on, notice this video, 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Describe virtual reality. When you want to get lost in another world, virtual reality can transport you to a German castle during the Middle Ages, but it can also be a valuable tool for getting work done. For example, instead of flat photos or drawings, a scenic designer can provide a more realistic simulation of a stage set. Virtual reality, or VR, uses computer technology to simulate a 3-dimensional environment that you can explore and interact with. VR training goes back to the 1970s, when computer flight simulation software was developed to help train pilots. Today, users can wear virtual reality headsets equipped with motion sensors and head tracking technology. By simply moving your head, you see a 360-degree view of your virtual surroundings. Reality technologies are quickly becoming an essential tool in industries such as manufacturing, healthcare, tourism, education, and retail. For example, architects can create virtual reality models to improve their designs before construction begins. VR is adding a new dimension to education. For example, museums can create elaborate VR exhibits where students travel through history and experience ancient civilizations, or examine dinosaurs at close range in their natural habitat. The fully immersive nature of virtual reality is different from augmented reality, or AR, which enhances the real world around you by layering data and imagery over video that's captured by your smartphone, tablet, or an AR headset. Augmented reality brings gaming into the real world. And like VR, it has the potential to be useful in the workplace. For example, a service technician can point an AR-equipped device at an engine and see an overlay of important diagnostic and repair information. AR technology can map blood vessels onto a patient's arm, making it easier for healthcare workers to find a vein the first time. Creative uses of reality technologies, such as VR and AR, are being dreamed up every day. But since the hardware to work with them is still expensive, there's increasing awareness that not everyone can afford to experience these new worlds. To combat this digital divide, some universities and libraries are working to create shared spaces where users can borrow or rent headsets and computers in order to take advantage of reality technologies. To learn more, read Explore the Impact of Virtual Reality in Technology for Success, Computer Concepts.
So once the video is done, and actually that wasn't too bad except for some of the buffering issues and a little hiccups that you saw, that's how this video assignment worked. And then virtual reality simulates a 3-dimensional environment where users can explore and interact. You say true, save the answer, yay, I got it correct. And then you can click OK, and it submits your assignment. And it says assignment submitted. You can click OK, and you can rest assured, yay, that was done. Easy 100 points. And these are scattered throughout the first 2 weeks of the class in terms of these conceptual assignments. It's so you can learn more about the new and interesting and awesome technologies that are being developed and being used by people as we currently speak. So I can close out of that. You see how I come up to the browser, click out of that because it moves you out of Brightspace into MindTap. I can come back to the concepts again using the breadcrumb or using the arrows to just simply move to the next assignment or content that's there. So we did this activity. There's a critical thinking challenge. Again, wherever you see these, you can click and just read the instructions and go through. These are really nice. It gets you to critically think through and you kind of derive an answer for something where you, for example, might learn to buy a particular computer for a person that has certain needs versus spending a way more money than necessary or not enough because it's not powerful enough for what they did or need. So these are pretty cool. These are nice exercises and would challenge you to use them and, of course, get graded for this. Another concept video. And then ultimately, this is required training for concept module. And this takes the content of chapter 1. It might be 10, 15, 20 questions. And you go through and it trains you. These are the ability, some tasks may require multiple attempts, but what it does, it's almost like a practice exam to allow you to go through and practice the material, train on it. So then when you get to the next chapter, you just repeat the same process. Except this is content about the web, and you'll see more videos, more critical thinking, and another training. Same way with chapter 3. There's some reading content and then some activities that you're graded on. And then finally, those 3 chapters for this week. Technically, this would be 1 chapter a week in a normal fall and spring semester. But because you're basically doing 3 weeks in one, boom, these first 3 chapters right out of the chute the first week, and then an exam. Now, what I've done is, if you've done the trainings, the practice exam, which you can take multiple times and does not count toward your grade at all. So get this, you can take it multiple times, doesn't count toward your grade, and it's basically the actual exam, except it allows you to practice. It gives you the questions, it randomizes them, but you can keep practicing. So let's say the first time you take the test for the concepts of chapters 1, 2, and 3, you get a 46%. As you could probably gather, that's not that good, right? So what do? You take it again, you kind of take notes on yourself and say, okay, I got this wrong. What was it? Boom, boom, boom. Doesn't give you the answer, but it can help you tell you which ones you got right, which ones you got wrong. And if necessary, you can go back and review your text and say, oh, that's what this answer is. So I highly recommend you, again, this is optional. You could skip over it if you want. It will leave a grade in your grade book, but it will not be counted at the end. This is merely for you to use as a prep tool for the actual exam. And that you see actual, meaning one shot, one and done, and that does go toward your grade. So it would behoove you and it would be wise to go through all the trainings in chapters 1, 2, and 3, and later on 4, 5, and 6, as well as to take the practice exams as many times as you feel comfortable, and then take the actual exam. And hopefully everybody will get A's on that. So that's what this is to prepare you for. That's why the practice exam is here, so you can do better on the actual exam. And you'll notice that when we dive into the modules in week 2, a general overview of all 3 weeks, but here's chapter 4. You'll see, look, more videos, lots of reading, critical thinking, and a training. So really at the end of the day, it looks like a lot, but a lot of it is just links to the reading or subsequent or supplemental material like PowerPoints, right? Then software and applications, again, a couple videos, some critical thinking exercises, and chapter 6, the same. You see there's a pattern going on as far as the reading, the videos, the critical thinking, and then a training. Ultimately concluding for the week with a practice exam and an actual exam. So those are the first 2 weeks of the concepts. Now, when we get into week 3, this is when you're going to roll up your sleeves and start working with actual applications such as Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Access. So when we get to week 3, it's solely devoted to Word, and that's what I wanted to focus on. So if we, just click on the module, you'll see the sub-modules listed, including a sub-module with a training and exam. And you'll see the 1, 2, 3 modules, and then the training and exams. But if I go back and go directly into the sub-module, this is where we get into more detail, and you can read about what you're going to be working on. So for the first assignment with Word is to build a flyer. There's actual PowerPoint module that goes through step-by-step how to do this. But in the Word reading module right here, if you were to click on this, this will actually take you to that portion of the textbook where it lists out the step-by-step instructions on how to complete the module from the text. Takes a little bit of time to load. So this assignment, or module 1 of Word, is known as creating and modifying a flyer. And and here's again, if you start clicking, it gives you what you're going to learn. What is Word? An introduction. Here's the project. Here's what it's going to look like when you're finished. And then here are the instructions. Start Word, enter text, format. And as you go through, it'll enable you to create and complete the assignment from the textbook. Your textbook also has what are known as end of chapter modules, which in order to, build on what you learned from the chapter from the book, I do one end of chapter module so it can then develop even further your skills with the application. So I'm going to come back here to this particular module using the breadcrumb because I wanted to show you this. So once that was just taking you to the textbook, the reading itself. I also, here's the subsequent graphic that you would use. On occasions, you'll see some of these. You can right mouse click and save image as or download image so you can have it to work with. The other thing that you can do is you can actually click on the Word module textbook project. It's the same thing that you saw and give you step-by-step instructions, but here it will enable you to download some files, and then this will automatically grade you when you upload your file back into MindTap. And you get 5 attempts at this. So let's say you download the project. So let's pretend we're going to start it, right? I'm back. I'm right here at step 1 of 2. Notice it says this project is not compatible with Office for Mac. Use Office for Windows to complete this project. So if you're a Mac user like I am, that you can still do this, but it may be, you may have to use your wits about you in order to complete this project. Again, if you read the syllabus, there are open labs for you that are PC-based that you can come in and work with. If that's the case, and let's say, for example, you get 5 attempts at this, and the highest you can get is, say, an 88 because it's missing some of the features that are available in Microsoft Word for Windows, PC versus Mac. You send it to me with an email, and I can take a look, and I can always look and see, yep, I can override this if necessary. But what you would do is you could click on this. This is the reading. This is a document that you download, which is blank, essentially, and you build from here. And here is the JPEG image of the person washing their hands. You download all of these, and then you do the work. And then when you click continue, once complete, you come over here, click or drag and drop your file. And you'll learn in the directions that this is the expected file name. And then once it's all uploaded, you hit submit and give it a moment. It will go through, click, 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 and it will check to see how well you did. And then you can download it. It will tell you your score. Notice that this is 1 of 5. You have 1 of 5 attempts. So let's say, for example, you submit it the first time and you get an 86. You can stop right there and you say, yep, I'm good with that. I'm good with an 86%. Some of you who may be a little bit more overachievers, if you want to go higher, it will tell you where you went wrong and you should examine your mistakes, and then you can go back, fix that, upload it again, click submit, and churn. It will, and then you can download and look at your score. This time you got a 96. Oh, you're still not 100. You can stop there if you wish, or shoot out again and do it again and fix whatever errors you may have. Now, sometimes Sam can get a little persnickety, and that's why it's the skills assessment manager. So this is a Sam project, and it can get a little persnickety. I like that word. You could be looking at it, it looks completely correct to you, but it's still marking you wrong. Even if you knock out all 5 attempts and you're still at 96, again, email me, let me know, send me your file. I can take a look at it and go, oh, yep, you were right on target. Who knows why this was marking you wrong? And I can override that particular grade. But that's up to you. So that is the project from the text. What then I have consequently as a follow-up is the end of project assignment, which just builds on your knowledge of the assignment you just did. So, for example, you just did this textbook project. I'm going to skip over the video link for a moment, and then here is the end of module project 1, creating and modifying a flyer. It's essentially the same exact project, but a double whammy to just make sure you understand some of the things that you did within the textbook assignment. You follow the same process. You click on this link. It will then migrate you over to your MindTap, or in this case, Sam, and allowing it to load. So again, you can come over, click the start, and this will take you now. So notice that it says step 2 of 2. So I'm going to click back. So here are the instructions. You download those and you can read right from the file and follow the instructions. Here's a pre-created document that's already set. You download it, you follow the instructions and build this. And of course, this is a supporting document, which is a graphic that you would put into this and build from there. The nice thing about this is now let me step back 1 notch because it's listed above this. So let's say you have the instructions in front of you that you downloaded and are printed, or what's nice is a fellow instructor of ours, Mr. John Bone, recorded himself doing each one of these end of chapter exercises. So let's say you're a more visual person and you are going to sit there and read the step-by-step instructions. It's good to have both. You can actually click and watch this video, pause, stop, rewind, pause, stop, rewind if necessary, and watch him go through building that project that you yourself will build right along with them, and done. And when it's done, you go back, you submit. If it's not good, let's say again, you get a 72% on it the first time. You download the file, you see the report, you see where your mistakes are, and you go back and make some changes, and boom, you jump up to say 86%. You have, again, 5 attempts at trying to get the best score you can possibly get out of this assignment. So there are 2 ways by which you can work with this. You can download the instructions, like you see here, and follow along just with the written word, or follow along with Mr. Bone in a video, or both. And that is how you can complete the end of project assignments. And So as you can see from that first week, just with this particular project for creating, we're chapter 1, creating the flyer. Really what you're doing is the textbook project. So you can learn how to do all this stuff. And then the end of chapter project, which builds on what you learned. It just reinforces what you learned from the textbook project. And here is the link to this guy right here. So again, always look for the red bold, this activity is worth this, this activity is worth that. That's the stuff that's being graded, folks, okay? So that, notice then, oh, you're not done for that week. Now you have Word Project 2. Then you also have Word Project 3 for that week. And it follows the same structure. Textbook project, a video that works with the end of chapter project, and right there, 200 points for this particular module. Then lastly, what culminates for that week is a training, a practice exam, and then the actual exam in Word. So this is a little bit different than the concepts exams, where here you actually have a training that all of the concepts that you learned basically through chapters 1, 2, and 3 in Word, there's a training for this. And what it does, it prepares for the actual exam. What is on the actual exam as well as the practice exam is covered in the training. There's nothing going to surprise you. Everything is totally the same. So if you do a training, for example, and let's just take a quick look at what a training looks like. Even though this training in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint are not required, they will be for access because there is no test for access. You just do the trainings and get yourself some points. And that's listed several times in the syllabus as well as on Brightspace. But in this particular case, the training is recorded in such a way that it asks you to complete a particular task. And then you can watch a video of how to do the task. Then you do it yourself and then you submit and it moves on. Again, these are optional. You can skip right over them if you want, but students that do the training do way better on the actual exam than those who do not, because you can see that there are 50 questions on this exam. So 2 points each. And you can actually click on the module, still loading here, but you can actually click on this hamburger menu and you can even go through and skip some. Let's say, okay, first task, how to start Word, how to change the margin, how to delete text. Maybe you go through these and go, well, I know how to do that. That's silly. I know how to do this. Change a theme. Show hide format. I'm not sure how to do that. So you can skip over all these and come down and you click this one and you are observe, practice, and apply. This is what's really cool. You can click the button and it's going to get a nice individual to read to you.
Show formatting marks to reveal non-printing characters, such as paragraph marks and spaces. Hide formatting marks if these characters are a distraction. In the paragraph group on the Home tab, click the Show Hide Formatting Marks button. Formatting marks appear in the document. Paragraph formatting marks show the end of each paragraph, and raised dots show spaces. Click the Show Hide Formatting Marks button again. The formatting marks are now hidden.
And that's all there is to that one. So you can say, well, do I want to observe it again, which you could, or you could go right to apply it. But let's say you want to practice this. So what this does is the narrator reads to you again, but then waits for you to complete the task.
Show formatting marks to reveal non-printing characters, such as paragraph marks and spaces. Hide formatting marks if these characters are a distraction. In the paragraph group on the Home tab, click the Show Hide Formatting Marks button.
So now it's waiting for me. I could sit here for 3 days and it's not going to go anywhere until I go, oh, I need to do what she told me. There we go.
Formatting marks appear in the document. Paragraph formatting marks show the end of each paragraph, and raised dots show spaces. Click the Show Hide Formatting Marks button again.
Okay, I'll do what she told me to do. And
The formatting marks are now hidden.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. Now, that was the observe. We can go to simply apply. And this is now without any code hints or anything. So when you click apply, this is how the exam for Word or Excel, PowerPoint, or Access would work. So here's your task instruction. And it says, show formatting marks in the document and hide them again. So you can close this out. Do you remember how to do that? I think you came up here and then you come back and click it again. Hey, it was complete. Had this been the exam, it would have marked me correct and moved me to the next task. So I'm now doing 7 out of 50, which is check spelling and grammar, right? I'm not going to go through all of this, but that is a training. It's basically telling you how to do it. It's also giving you exactly what's going to be on the exam, so there are no surprises whatsoever. So not only are the surprises eliminated, but you can practice this going through the training over and over and over again until you think, I've got every one of these tasks down. That will not only help you be better in Word overall. So after this class is over, you probably, pretty much a guru in Microsoft Word as far as that goes. So that is a training. Now, the practice exam, let me come back. Again, I could use this next arrow and it would have just moved me to the next. So the practice exam, once I've done the training, let's see how well I did, right? So I'm going to take a practice exam, which is essentially the exam. You can take it multiple times and it doesn't count toward your grade. Whew, right? Sounds good. Practice this. So you've done the training, you think you're pretty good with it, you come up to the practice exam, which again mirrors pretty much what was in the training, and you can go from there. And with this, you can get 3 stabs at each task. So 3 strikes, you're out, you move on to the next one. Because sometimes there are multiple steps to the task. And again, this is just so you can prepare for the actual exam. You might say, I'm good with the training. I skipped over this practice exam. I'm going right for the jugular and take the exam. But remember, exams can only be taken once and they do count as part of your grade. That's the pattern for all of this. So I'm going to go ahead and click start. You'll notice that it kind of looks the same. Attempts remaining. What's the first question? Dun, dun, dun. And you can see the task, and you can skip over tasks, but remember to go back and complete them, if you want, or you can skip it and say, okay, I know I'll just take a 0 for that one. But better to take a stab at it than not stab at it at all, so to speak. Now, it does take a while for these things to load, so give it a moment. So first task, create a new blank document, okay? Notice here in the actual practice that you can move this around or you can delete it. So my goal is to create a new blank document. How do I do that? So let's say I go to File, Open, Recent, and I hit Submit. It says, you have not completed all the tasks. Do you want to submit? Say, cancel. So that means I can go back and start over, or if I got it wrong, it would say attempts remaining 2, attempts remaining 1. And after that, it moves me to the next question if I couldn't do this. But what if I were to just simply come up here and go new, blank document, correct, thank you, move to the next task, which is now 2 of 50. Again, you can skip around by clicking the hamburger menu if you wish. Start Word 2019. Well, how do we do that? Well, let's see if I come down here, do that. Yay, you see, some of these aren't too bad, but they can get progressively harder. The issue being is if you go through the training and if you go through the practice exams and you feel pretty confident, by the time you get to the actual exam, you can fly right through this. So change the let's just do one more. Change the document margins to narrow. Let's see, I'm going to go to layout. I'm going to go to margins and there it is. Of course, you think, wow, he knows this stuff. No, I've done these trainings. So you get the idea. Both the training and the practice exam is very, very helpful. And that, let me close this out. And that prepares you then for the actual exam. And I've put icons beside of these. So when you're in this particular mode, going through the course, then it says exam in red. Unlike Microsoft Word 2019 exam modules 1 through 3 practice exam, this exam can only be taken once and is counted as part of your grade. So after you've done the training, practice exam, you've polished your skills up and you're ready to go. Notice that because I've gone through these, you see the little check marks. There's a little dot here. It says I haven't done this one yet. So, and the progress bar says I've done 2 out of 3 topics. So follow the check marks, follow the progress bar, and that will let you know how much you've done in each of the modules for that particular week. Notice that, let's take a look at week 4, where we get into Excel. You get the 100-foot overview of that particular week, including all 3 modules in the exam, and then you dive into the sub-module. And here's the textbook assignment. There's the video link that helps you guide you through the end of project module. And again, this repeats for chapter 2 or module 3 for Excel. In the final week, you just simply have the training for access. If you do, it's just one training. You do that, you get 100 points. That's all you need for that week in terms of access. And then the final PowerPoints for chapter 1, 2, and 3, as well as the training practice exam and actual exam for PowerPoint. So if you think about it, when you're getting into the hands-on portion of the class, there's actually an exam for Word, an exam for Excel, an exam for PowerPoint, and you just simply do the trainings for access. There's no exam for access, just a training. And that's the only training that is required in this hands-on portion. Since there's no exam, the training counts. And that's the entire course, except for I think there's one free-form project at the end, which students really like, and it's due by Tuesday, July 27th. And that is your final PowerPoint presentation on any topic you want, 10 slides. I've had students do it on Star Wars, Darth Vader, Harry Potter, themselves, their pets, places they've traveled to. It can be on any topic you want. I just want to let you have some fun with that and get creative. But that is essentially kind of an overview of the semester and how to navigate Brightspace in what I think is the easiest way to just drill down into modules, submodules, and even submodules of submodules to get to the content. Again, if you come back to the course home, if you're so inclined, one of the easiest things to do is wait for the browser to load the course in. And that is come to the content browser. And let me scroll through this. Here's the course modules that you saw a moment ago. And here are the modules week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So let's say I pick week 4. There's the chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Again, we go to chapter 1. There's the PowerPoint, the reading, the textbook project, everything we did labeled right here. And some students find this quicker and easier to do it this way. At the end of the day, whatever makes it easier for you is the way to go. And that's kind of a $200 tour of Brightspace as related to the course. So you saw how MindTap works as far as the electronic textbook and how SAM works in terms of the training, the practice exam and exams, as well as working with the SAM projects. So hopefully this helps. Again, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. That being said, I can always Zoom with you. That is, do a video chat, share our screens, figure out what might be going on as far as that goes. And hopefully any technical issues you may have, we can remedy that. If it ever gets down to technical issues and something I can't resolve, sometimes the best place to do and go is to contact the folks at Cengage. So notice I clicked on content, and as I scroll down through here, technical support is a module in and of itself. You click on that, you can contact the Brightspace folks, but there's also Cengage technical support links that you can click, and you fill out a little form. And I'm telling you, they're very, very good at getting back to you quickly in order to try to resolve your issues. So just wanted to make you aware of that. So please go through and explore all of these little modules. You'll notice that because I've reviewed most of the content in these modules, once they're all complete 100%, you get a little check mark. It says, hey, you've looked at all the stuff in Start Here, all the stuff in this course schedule, all the stuff in the syllabus, college information, program goals, etc. So that's a great way to keep track of where you are and what you need to get done and where you're going. So all that said, I'm going to wrap this up. Please go back. I know this was a long video. I covered a lot of ground, but this is the great way, best way to really learn how to navigate the course before you start diving in, so you already have a feel for where things are. Please don't hesitate to ask questions if necessary. Rewind and watch this video again a dozen times if you need it. And hopefully you find this helpful. And don't be afraid to experiment and click on some things. You won't break anything, trust me. All right, have a great semester, folks. And I look forward to learning more about you and see what you can do with the class. Take care, thanks.